I couldn't really find a geospatial gender equity kind of map that I liked or service that I liked, so I just went ahead and created it myself. This is the data I'm using. So it's the United Nations development, and if you see, you can sort it by gender. And I just grabbed all this data and I put it into geteach.com. So if you just go to select map, go to geography, human geography, and then I just put it right there in gender equity. And then I'm going to go put it on the other as well. Fix that. Alright. And so here's the gender inequality index. And the white is there's no data, but everything else there is. So like the United States, for example, has a 0.189 inequality index. Looks like the closer you get to 0, the more equal it is. Right? And the Democratic Republic of the Congo, for example, has a 0.652. India has a 0.524. And if you need help on what it is, it's a composite measure reflecting inequality and achievement between women and men in 3 dimensions: health, empowerment, and labor. And then you can click that for technical details, I guess, if you want the PDF. So once you click the select map, these are the data sets that came down with it. So maternal mortality rates, adolescent birth rates, percent of parliament seats, secondary education, and labor force participation. I'll just scroll through them over here, because what was interesting was actually the United States, and it's not at the lowest quantile, which I found kind of interesting. And then when you start looking at why, you can kind of flip these layers over here. So the mortality rate for the United States, the maternal mortality rate is low, right? But this is the one I think throws it for a little bit of a loop, because even though it is in the lower percentile, it's actually relatively high. Look, it's 18.8 compared to 8.6, and then Canada is 9.4. So it's like it's interesting how high that really is. Parliament seats, this is another one where the United States doesn't do very well on. So it's in the middle. So the percent in the houses, again, if you hit the I, you'll get the information. So there's only 19.7 as of 2017, because that's when the data was taken. Secondary education is pretty high for the United States at 95%. And what I left in was that I left the males and the females as far as secondary education. Because if you look at Brazil, for example, it's 61%. But actually that female percentage is actually higher than the male percentage. Just for kind of some fun. And then labor force participation. This is a weird map, because kind of the less developed countries, like the Democratic Republic of the Congo, has a pretty high percentage of females 15 and older in the workforce. So it's one of those cool maps, probably to show a student as far as, kind of the necessity of working and kind of what kind of work they're doing. So if you flipped on the map, like a different map, let's say like economy, and then switch the layer to agricultural labor, you can probably find a correlation here. I wouldn't be surprised if you found a correlation there. That was the first time I looked at it. So alright, so that's kind of what I created today, because it was a very interesting post you had, and I'm just disappointed that I didn't have this already built into the website. So thanks.